The ship appeared without warning, a crescent of silver light hanging above the Pacific Ocean like a second moon. Within hours, every screen on Earth displayed the same message in perfect English. "We are the Vaelor. We come in peace. Send your representatives." Maya Okonkwo stood in the glass corridor of the International Contact Station, staring at the alien vessel through the viewport. Her reflection ghosted over the stars, a woman of 43 with silver-streaked hair and eyes that hadn't known rest in 72 hours. Behind her, the diplomatic team assembled, linguists, scientists, military advisors, all wearing the same expression of barely contained terror disguised as professionalism. "They're ready for us," Directorchin said, his voice tight. The transport shuttle felt too small, too fragile as it crossed the void between humanity and whatever waited inside that ship. Maya pressed her palm against a window, watching Earth shrink behind them. Everything humanity had dreamed of, feared, and imagined was about to become real. The Vaelor airlock opened with a whisper of pressurized air. Maya stepped through first, her heart hammering against her ribs. The chamber beyond was vast and organic, walls rippling with bioluminescent patterns. And there, waiting in the center, stood the Vaelor. They were beautiful, impossibly so, humanoid but elongated, their skin shifting between shades of deep violet and midnight blue, for eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, on faces that seemed sculpted from living crystal. When they moved, it was like watching water flow upward. "Welcome," Maya said, her voice steady despite everything. "I am Dr. Maya Okonkwo, representing Earth and humanity. We are honored to—" "The atmospheric composition is remarkable," one of the Vaelor said, turning to another. Its voice was melodic, bypassing ears and resonating directly in Maya's skull. "Nitrogen-oxygen balance, traces of argon, textbook conditions for carbon-based life. Yet barren," another responded. "Not a single sapient species. The data is consistent. This world evolved no intelligent life." Maya blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" The first Vaelor moved past her, not around her, as if she were empty space. Its body passed through the area she occupied without contact, without acknowledgement. Maya stumbled backward, gasping. "Did you see that?" she hissed at Chun. His face had gone white. "They walked through you. The evolutionary markers are all present," a third Vaelor observed, examining a holographic display that materialized in the air. "Tool use among some primates, rudimentary social structures in certain species. But the cognitive leap never occurred. A shame, really. This planet had such potential. We're standing right here." Maya shouted, "Look at us. We're talking to you." The Vaelor continued their discussion, analyzing air samples and geological data, completely oblivious to the 8 humans now surrounding them in various states of panic and confusion. General Hawthorne, a man who had commanded armies, stepped forward and grabbed the nearest Vaelor's arm, or tried to. His hand passed through the alien's limb like smoke. "What the hell is happening?" "They can't see us," Dr. Yuki Tanaka whispered, her voice breaking. "Or they won't. God, they won't see us." Maya's mind raced through possibilities, each more terrifying than the last. Technology? Some kind of cloaking field in reverse? A test? But the Vaelor's words carried no deception, no hidden meaning. They genuinely believed Earth was uninhabited. "We need to make them understand," Maya said. She moved their display, tried to manipulate it, to input data, to leave any mark of her presence. Her fingers passed through the hologram, like it was made of light and wishes. One of the Vaelor paused. For a moment, just a fraction of a second, its diamond-patterned eyes seemed to focus on Maya. She felt seen, truly seen, and hope flared in her chest. Then it turned away. Curious. Minor quantum fluctuations in this sector. Likely residual effects from the planet's magnetic field. Maya felt something crack inside her. They had reduced her existence to background noise. "Perhaps we should establish a research outpost," another Vaelor suggested. "The biodiversity warrants further study. And with no native sapients to complicate matters, we can proceed without ethical constraints." "No native sapients," Maya repeated numbly. Around her, the diplomatic team stood frozen, watching their worst nightmare unfold. Not conquest, not war, but something worse. Erasure. We need to get back to Earth, Chin said. We need to figure out what's happening. But Maya couldn't move. She stared at the Vaelor, these beings who had crossed light years to reach them, who spoke their language, who stood in the same room breathing the same air, yet somehow existed in a reality where humanity was nothing more than an impossibility. This isn't right, she whispered. This can't be real. The Vaelor continued their survey, cataloging a world they believed was empty, while 8 humans watched in silent horror, ghosts in their own home. The emergency session of the United Nations had devolved into chaos. On every screen, the Vaelor ship hung in orbit, and on Earth, 8 billion people grappled with an impossible truth. They had been declared non-existent by the very beings who should have confirmed their reality. Maya stood at the podium, exhausted beyond measure. They're not ignoring us. They genuinely cannot perceive us as sentient beings. Every attempt we've made to communicate has been interpreted as natural phenomena. Our voices are wind. Our touch is temperature fluctuation. Our cities are geological formations. That's insane, the Brazilian ambassador shouted. We built that station they docked with. How do they explain that? They don't, Maya said flatly. Their sensors show an asteroid cluster where our station exists. When their ship docked, their systems compensated automatically. To them, they're floating in empty space, using their own anchoring technology. The Russian delegate leaned forward. Doctor, you're saying they're delusional? No. I'm saying their reality and ours might not be as compatible as we thought. Maya pulled up data on the main screen. I've been analyzing their broadcasts, their internal communications. The Vaelor have explored 2,347 worlds. They've cataloged 812 intelligent species. But here's what terrifies me. Every single one of those species matches a specific set of criteria. She highlighted the patterns. Carbon-based, yes, but also symmetrical body structure, energy perception beyond visible light, and something they call quantum resonance signature. We don't have that last one. We don't even know what it means. So, we're invisible to them? Asked the Secretary General. Worse, we're impossible to them. Imagine if you encounter a creature that violated every law of physics you understood. You wouldn't see it as real. You'd rationalize it away as hallucination, instrument error, anything but accept that your entire understanding of the universe was wrong. Director Chin joined her at the podium, his face grave. 3 hours ago, the Vaelor began construction. They're building a mining facility in the Sahara Desert. The room erupted. Maya closed her eyes, seeing it play out, massive machinery tearing into Earth, and the Vaelor genuinely believing they were harvesting an uninhabited world's resources. They would destroy humanity not out of malice, but out of complete philosophical blindness. We need to force them to see us, General Hawthorne said. Nuclear weapons, destroy their ship, make them acknowledge. That would prove their point, Maya interrupted. Natural disasters, volcanic activity. They'd interpret an attack as confirmation that this planet is dangerous and primitive, then glass it from orbit to secure their mining operations. Silence fell like a shroud. Dr. Tanaka spoke up from her seat. There was a moment, on their ship, one of them almost saw you, Maya. Maya nodded slowly. I felt it too, like something clicked just for a second before sliding away again. Then we find that moment again. Tanaka said, we find the crack in her perception, and we wedge it open. 6 hours later, Maya stood in her lab surrounded by screens displaying Vaelor neurology, physics, and philosophy texts their computers had helpfully translated, still not recognizing that anyone was reading them. Her team worked frantically around her. Their consciousness operates on quantum entanglement, Dr. James Park announced, highlighting neural pathways. Their thoughts exist in superposition across multiple probability states. They don't just think. They think across parallel realities simultaneously. And we don't, Maya said, understanding dawning cold and terrible. Our consciousness is classical, single state, linear. To them, we might literally exist in only one quantum state, Tanaka added, while they exist in multitudes. We're not just invisible, we're dimensionally insufficient. Maya stared at the data, feeling the weight of cosmic horror settle on her shoulders. Humanity had always feared aliens would see them as primitive, as insects, as food. They had never imagined aliens might not be capable of seeing them at all. Her phone buzzed. A message from the observation team. Vaelor had begun atmospheric processing, releasing compounds into stratosphere. Composition unknown. Maya's blood ran cold. Get me atmospheric analysis. Now. The results came back within minutes. The compounds were inert to most Earth life, but would terraform the atmosphere over the next decade toward Vaelor-optimal conditions. Conditions that would make Earth unbreathable for humans. They're not trying to kill us, Maya whispered. They're just remodeling, like we redecorate an empty house. Chun gripped the edge of the table. We're going to die, aren't we? Erased from existence by beings who never knew we were here. Maya looked at her team, brilliant minds, desperate faces, the best humanity had to offer. The Vaelor think across quantum states. What if we could too? Just for a moment. Just long enough to exist in their reality? That's theoretically impossible, Park said. Human consciousness isn't built for quantum coherence. The energy required to force our neural patterns into superposition would kill us. I know. Maya pulled up schematics of the Vaelor ship, specifically their power core. But what if we didn't have to sustain it? What if we just needed one burst? One moment of quantum consciousness to appear in their reality long enough to be seen. Tanaka understood immediately. You want to hijack their technology. I want to become something they can't deny exists. Maya's hands trembled as she worked through calculations. We build a neural interface, connected to their quantum systems, and force one human consciousness into quantum superposition for maybe 30 seconds before the brain dies. That's suicide, Chin said. That's the only option, Maya corrected. Someone has to exist in their reality long enough to prove we're real, to break their certainty, to make them question everything. The room fell silent. They all knew what she was proposing. They all knew what it meant. It has to be me, Maya said quietly. I've had the most contact with them. I felt that moment of recognition. If anyone can bridge the gap, it's me. The device looked like a crown of thorns made from light and mathematics. Maya sat in the chair while Dr. Park attached the neural interfaces to her temples, each connection sending ice-water jolts through her skull. Around her, the lab hummed with stolen Vaelor technology, equipment they'd extracted from the mining site, using drones the aliens couldn't perceive. You'll have approximately 43 seconds, Park said, his voice shaking. After that, the quantum stress will cause irreversible neural cascade. Your consciousness won't just collapse. It'll fragment across probability states. There won't be anything left to save. Maya nodded. She'd written her letters, said her goodbyes to her daughter via video message. She'd accepted death the moment she understood it was the only language the Vaelor might hear. The plan is still insane, General Hawthorne said through the comm. You appear in their reality. They acknowledge you exist, and then what? You're dead, and they're aware of one human. How does that save 8 billion people? Because doubt is contagious, Maya replied. The Vaelor certainty is absolute. It's the foundation of their entire civilization. If I can make one of them really question whether we exist, if I can introduce uncertainty into their quantum consciousness, it spreads. Their thoughts are entangled. One crack becomes 1,000. Tanaka finished the final calculations. We've tapped into their ship's power core. When you activate, you'll pull enough energy to light up their quantum sensors like a supernova. They won't be able to rationalize you away. Chin gripped Maya's shoulder. The world is watching. You're about to become either humanity's savior or its most visible failure. No pressure, Maya said with a weak smile. She looked at the screen showing Earth from orbit, the Vaelor ship hovering like a judge over a prisoner. Below, cities full of people going about their lives, unaware that in the next few minutes, everything would change. Or end. Do it, Maya said. Park activated the device. The pain was immediate and absolute. Maya's consciousness exploded outward, splitting and multiplying, existing in 1,000 states simultaneously. She was sitting in the chair. She was standing. She was screaming. She was silent. She was alive and dead, and never born, and ancient beyond measure. Time became meaningless. She experienced every moment of her life happening at once. Childhood laughter and teenage heartbreak, and her daughter's birth and her own death playing out in infinite variation. She saw versions of herself that had made different choices, lived different lives, loved different people. She saw herself as president, as a homeless woman, as someone who had never been born. And through it all, she felt the Vaelor. Their consciousness brushed against hers like cosmic wind, vast and cold and absolutely certain. She understood now why they couldn't see humanity. They existed in every possible state simultaneously, their thoughts flowing through probability like water through a sieve. Humans were single points, isolated moments, and to the Vaelor, anything that existed in only one state was indistinguishable from quantum noise. But now Maya existed in their reality. Now she was quantum. She pulled herself together, forced her fragmenting consciousness toward a single purpose. The Vaelor ship materialized around her in crystalline clarity. Not the shadowy version she'd seen before, but the true ship, existing in superposition across 17 different configurations simultaneously. The Vaelor were there, all 6 of them, their consciousness bleeding into each other, individual and collective all at once. "Look at me," Maya said, and her voice rippled across probability states. One of them turned. Its 4 eyes widened. She saw surprise, confusion, fear cascade across its features in waves of color. "Impossible," it said, but the word carried uncertainty now, a crack in its absolute knowledge. "I am Maya Okonkwo," she said, forcing the words through agony. "I am human. We exist. We have always existed. You are wrong." The Vaelor recoiled. She felt its consciousness touching hers, examining, analyzing. Horror bloomed in the space between them. "You're classical," it whispered. "Single state. How are you here? How are you thinking? How are you?" It stopped, and Maya felt the moment of understanding crash through it like shattering glass. "You're dying." "Yes." Maya's consciousness was already fragmenting. Pieces of her spinning off into the void. She had maybe 10 seconds left. "But I'm real. We're all real. 8 billion of us. We live on that planet. We built those cities you think are mountains. We created the station you think is asteroids. We're here. We've always been here. And you're destroying us because you can't see us." "That's impossible," another Vaelor said, but its voice trembled with the first doubt it had ever experienced. "Prove it," Maya challenged. "Look at Earth again. But this time, question your certainty. What if you're wrong?" She felt them resist, felt centuries of absolute knowledge pushing back against the suggestion. But she also felt the crack widening, doubt spreading through their entangled consciousness like infection. "The quantum mathematics," one said slowly. "If a species could achieve consciousness in a classical single state, the energy efficiency would be extraordinary. But the isolation, to think alone, to exist in only one reality at a time. It would be like being buried alive," another whispered. Maya laughed, bitter and dying. Welcome to being human. Her consciousness was unraveling. She had seconds left, maybe less. She pushed everything she had into one final message, branding it across their quantum-entangled minds. "We exist. We suffer. We love. We dream. We're here. See us. Please, just see us." The world exploded into infinite fragments. Maya experienced her death across every possible variation. Sudden and slow, painful and peaceful, alone and surrounded. She felt her consciousness scatter across probability space, each piece becoming its own ghost reality. But in the moment before everything ended, she felt it, the Vaelor's certainty breaking. Not just one mind, but all of them, their entangled consciousness spreading doubt like wildfire through quantum space. She'd done it. The last thing Maya Okonkwo experienced was a Vaelor's voice, small and terrified, saying, "What have we done?" Then she was gone, existing everywhere and nowhere, her consciousness dissolved into the quantum foam of the universe. In the lab, Maya's body slumped in the chair, smoke rising from the neural interfaces. The monitors flatlined with a sound like the universe sighing. The silence in the lab lasted 3 seconds before alarms shrieked to life. Dr. Park caught Maya's body as it fell forward, frantically checking for vital signs he knew wouldn't be there. Her eyes were open, staring at nothing, pupils blown wide as galaxies. "She's gone," he said, voice breaking. "Neural activity flatlined. She's—" The lights died. Every screen went black. Then, one by one, they flickered back to life, displaying the same image. A Vaelor face, its 4 eyes fixed directly on the camera. "We see you now," it said. Around the world, every device capable of displaying an image showed the same thing. Phones, televisions, jumbotreks, military displays, all hijacked by the Vaelor broadcast. 8 billion humans stopped what they were doing and stared. "We are the Vaelor," the alien continued, and for the first time, its voice carried emotion, something that sounded like grief. "For 6 of your days, we have occupied your space. We have begun mining operations on your world. We have started atmospheric modification. We did these things believing your planet was uninhabited." In the UN chamber, delegates gripped their armrests. In homes across Earth, parents pulled children close. We were wrong. The Vaelor's skin shifted through colors. Deep purple to gray to something that looked like shame. "A human named Maya Okonkwo has just died, proving to us that you exist. She forced her consciousness into quantum superposition, a state that should have been impossible for a classical-minded being. The pain she endured to make us see you was... We have no comparison. She fragmented herself across reality to become visible to us." The image changed, showing Maya in a chair, the moment of activation, the light consuming her. Chun felt his legs give out. Around the world, people wept for a woman they'd never met who had died, so they could be real. "We cannot undo what has been done to Dr. Okonkwo," the Vaelor said. "But we are halting all operations on your world immediately. We are withdrawing our mining equipment. We are reversing the atmospheric modifications. We are leaving." "Wait," Chin said, stepping toward the screen, even though he knew the alien couldn't hear him. But the Vaelor continued. "We must leave because we are dangerous to you. Our consciousness operates on quantum principles that make your existence uncomfortable for us to perceive. Even now, knowing you're real, my mind tries to rationalize you away as impossibility. It takes active effort to maintain the understanding that you exist, and we cannot guarantee that all Vaelor will make that effort." The image shifted again, showing the Vaelor ship beginning to withdraw from orbit. "We are adding your species to our records," the alien said, "but we are also marking your world as forbidden territory. No Vaelor ship will approach Earth again. We cannot trust ourselves around you. The risk of another erasure is too high." The transmission began to fade. "Wait!" General Hawthorne shouted at his screen. "You're just leaving? What about the 800 other species you found? What happens to them?" But the Vaelor was already gone. Their ship vanished in a ripple of distorted space, leaving Earth's orbit empty except for the stars. The world exhaled. Relief, confusion, grief, all of it mixing into something unprecedented. Humanity had made first contact, proven their existence, and been immediately abandoned by beings who found them too disturbing to acknowledge. "Is this victory?" Tanaka whispered. Nobody answered. Chin stood over Maya's body, now covered with a white sheet in the corner of the lab. They'd shut down the equipment, classified the technology, and begun writing the reports that would try to explain the unexplainable. But all he could think about was Maya's daughter, 17 years old, who would have to bury her mother without ever truly understanding why. "She saved us," Park said quietly. "She proved we existed," Chin corrected. "I'm not sure that's the same thing." The next 72 hours passed in a blur of international conferences, memorial services, and philosophical debates that would define humanity for generations. The Vaelor incident, as it came to be called, forced every human to confront a terrible question. What did it mean that beings more advanced than them had looked at Earth and seen nothing? Religious leaders proclaimed it proof of humanity's uniqueness, their divine spark that transcended quantum mechanics. Scientists argued about consciousness, classical versus quantum minds, and whether humans were evolutionarily stunted or remarkably efficient. Philosophers debated whether existence that required proof was truly existence at all. But in a small apartment in Lagos, Maya's daughter Zara sat alone, watching her mother's final video message for the 100th time. "If you're watching this, I'm gone," Maya said on the screen, her face tired but determined. "I need you to understand something, baby. The Vaelor couldn't see us because we exist differently than they do. We're singular. We live in one moment, one reality, one timeline. To them, that made us invisible." Zara wiped tears from her face. "But here's what I realized," Maya continued. "Being singular isn't a weakness. Yes, we exist in only one state, but that means every moment we have is precious, unique, unrepeatable. The Vaelor exists across infinite probabilities, but that means nothing they do truly matters. There's always another version, another chance, another reality where things went differently." Maya leaned closer to the camera. "We humans, we get one shot, one life, one timeline. And that makes every choice we make, every person we love, every moment we exist, it makes it all infinitely valuable. We're not less than the Vaelor. We're just rare. And rare things are precious." The video ended. Zara sat in silence, processing. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Check the sky. Tonight, 11 p.m. You want to see this?" Zara frowned but filed away. Probably conspiracy theorists or journalists trying to exploit her grief. But at 11 p.m., curiosity got the better of her. She stepped onto her balcony and looked up. The sky was full of lights. Not stars, messages. Thousands of them, projected onto the atmospheric layer in scripts from every human language. Condolences, gratitude, grief, all scrolling past in a river of collective mourning. And then, cutting through all of it, a single message that made Zara's breath catch. "We saw her. And through her we saw you. You exist. Never doubt it. The Vaelor." Zara collapsed against the railing, sobbing. 3 months after Maya Okonkwo's death, the world had changed in ways both profound and subtle. The Vaelor Mining Corporation's abandoned equipment in the Sahara had been converted into a memorial site, a stark reminder of how close humanity had come to erasure. Governments had established a Department of Quantum Relations, preparing for a future where contact with other species might require proof of existence itself. But in the quiet spaces between policy and politics, humanity grappled with a deeper wound. They had been seen and found wanting. The Vaelor had looked at them, understood them, and chosen to stay away. Zara Okonkwo stood in her mother's lab, now preserved as a museum. The neural interface device sat behind reinforced glass, a crown of thorns that had cost everything. Students and scientists made pilgrimages here, touching the glass, whispering prayers or thanks or apologies. She was my hero long before she saved the world, Zara said to the documentary crew filming her. She used to tell me that the universe was bigger than we could imagine, but that didn't make us small. It made us explorers. The interview ended. The crew packed up. Zara was alone with her mother's ghost. Her phone buzzed. Another message from the unknown number. Roof of the International Contact Station. "Come alone. You'll understand soon." Zara had ignored a dozen such messages over the past months. Cranks, conspiracy theorists, people who wanted to touch the daughter of the woman who died, proving humanity existed. But something about this one felt different. She went. The contact station floated in low Earth orbit, a monument to what might have been. Zara took the commercial shuttle up, her security clearance, granted out of respect for her mother, getting her past checkpoints without question. The roof was an observation dome, transparent aluminum offering a 360-degree view of Earth and stars. She was alone, or so she thought. "Hello, Zara." She spun around. A figure stood in the shadows, humanoid but wrong, its silhouette shifting between states like a probability made flesh. "I'm sorry to frighten you," the Vaelor said, stepping into the light. Its 4 eyes glowed with something that might have been sadness. "My name is Thessaly. I was there when your mother died." Zara's hand went to the emergency beacon on her wrist. "Your people said you'd never come back, that we were forbidden." "We are forbidden," Thessaly agreed. "By order of the Vaelor Collective, no member of our species may approach Earth. I am here in violation of every law my people hold sacred." It moved closer, and Zara saw the cost of that violation. Its skin flickered erratically, its form struggling to maintain cohesion. I am dying for being here. The same way your mother died to reach us. Why? Zara demanded. Why risk it? Because your mother's final message. See us. Please, just see us. It has haunted me every moment since. Thessaly's voice carried harmonics of pain. The Vaelor Collective has decided the safest course is avoidance. If we cannot easily perceive humanity, we simply won't try. We'll mark your world as off-limits and forget you exist. That's what we wanted, isn't it? To be left alone? Is it? Thessaly asked. Your mother didn't die to make us go away. She died to make us acknowledge you exist. There's a difference. Zara felt her throat tighten. What do you want from me? I want to give you something. Thessaly reached out, and in its hand materialized a small device, crystalline and pulsing with inner light. This is a quantum resonance generator. With it, humans can temporarily achieve quantum consciousness. Safely, without the death your mother endured. We refined the technology. Tested it. It works. Zara stared at the device. You're saying humans could think like you do? Exist across multiple states. For brief periods, yes. You could perceive reality the way we do. Communicate with other quantum consciousness species. Join the greater community of the universe. Thessaly's form flickered dangerously, but it comes with a price. Once you start existing in quantum states, even temporarily, the classical single-state existence your mother valued, the preciousness of one life, one moment, that becomes diluted. You lose what makes you unique. So it's a choice, Zara said slowly. Remain isolated and precious, or join the universe and lose ourselves. Every species faces this choice eventually, Thessaly said. Most choose to evolve, to expand their consciousness, but they lose something in the process. The Vaelor barely remember what it was like to exist in a single state. We've forgotten the value of singularity. The device pulsed in Thessaly's hand. Zara could feel it calling to something deep inside her, promising connection, understanding, belonging. Why give this to me? She asked. Why not to the governments, the scientists? Because you are Maya Okonkwo's daughter. Because she died to prove humanity existed, and you should decide what humanity becomes. Thessaly's form was fading now, becoming translucent. I don't have much time. The violation of our laws is killing me, so I need your answer. Do you take this device and give humanity the choice to evolve? Or do you refuse it and remain as you are, singular, isolated, precious? Zara looked at the device, then at her spinning below them, blue and green and impossible. She thought about her mother's message. We get one shot, one life, one timeline, and that makes it all infinitely valuable. She thought about the loneliness of being the only classical consciousness species in a quantum universe, unable to truly communicate with anyone else out there. She thought about what her mother would want. I refuse, Zara said quietly. Thessaly's eyes widened. You're certain? You're condemning your species to isolation. No other quantum consciousness species will be able to properly perceive you. You'll be alone in the universe. We've always been alone, Zara said. At least now we know it. And we know we exist, even if no one else can easily see us. That's enough. She looked at Thessaly. My mother didn't die so we could become like you. She died so you'd acknowledge we have value as we are. For a long moment, Thessaly stood silent. Then, slowly, something like a smile crossed its face. Your mother would be proud. The device disappeared from its hand. I'll tell the collective what you chose. It won't change their policy. Earth will remain forbidden, but it will be recorded. Humanity, the species that chose singularity over connection, the ones who valued uniqueness over belonging. Will we ever see you again? Zara asked. I don't know, Thessaly admitted. Its form was barely visible now, a ghost of quantum probability. But I will remember you, both of you, in every state I exist in, across every probability. I will carry the memory of the humans who died to be seen and the one who chose to remain unseen. Then Thessaly was gone, vanished like morning mist. Zara stood alone on the observation deck, looking at Earth. She thought about her mother fragmenting across reality, experiencing every possible version of her death simultaneously, all so humanity could be acknowledged for one perfect moment. She thought about the choice she'd just made, perhaps the most important decision in human history, and no one would ever know she'd made it. Her phone buzzed one final time. The message read, "Thank you for existing. T." Zara smiled through tears and turned away from the stars. She had work to do, a foundation to run in her mother's name, a species to remind of being singular, being unrepeatable, being stubbornly, impossibly real in a universe that struggled to acknowledge them. That was enough. That was everything. Below her, Earth turned in its solitary dance, precious and alone and absolutely, undeniably real. And in the quantum foam of the universe, scattered across probability like seeds of light, fragments of Maya Okonkwo's consciousness resonated with pride. Humanity existed. They had always existed. And they always would, singular and precious, one moment at a time.